Hello, everybody, and welcome to Back Issues. I'm Sal.
I'm Ethan.
And I'm Ben.
We have fun on this couch. Today, we're going to talk about Spider-Man, Spider Island.
Woo.
There's a big video game, Spider-Man. You might have heard of it. I think it's called the Marvel's Spider-Man for the PS4.
Oh.
And that's it.
Really?
Just Marvels.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Just
PS4
exclusive.
exclusive?
Mm-hmm. And people are hyped, including me,
No.
because I have one.
Right. You could actually
Yes.
Play it. Yeah, if I had an X-Bone, I'd be like,
Crap.
this is stupid, that game is dumb, I'm sure it sucks, and I'm going to buy a PS4 now.
I'm gonna be pwning everyone on Destiny 2.
Exactly. This is written by Dan Slott. It is, for me, the culmination of everything that he was building towards. And then everything's downhill from here, ladies and gentlemen.
Wait, from here or starting?
Or in
From
here.
here. I think
Okay.
it's cool. I dug this.
Okay.
He also did Superior Spider-Man, which we did, and that was fun. And
Yeah.
everybody really likes that. And that's probably, for most people, the pinnacle. For me,
Right.
this is the culmination. Like, I loved Big Time, which we've still never done here.
Right.
But for me, that's like, oh, crap, you've won me over. And then it all builds towards Spider Island. And I'm like, I don't think it's ever going to get bigger or better than this. And then he does a bigger event called Ends of the Earth, which is arguably not better than this.
Nice.
But it is bigger.
It is bigger because it actually has to do. It's more globe spanning. I think this actually. I don't know if it. It's technically bigger than this.
I mean, this is Spider Island. This is just an island.
Right, but it's an island of Manhattan. It's full
Pretty
of
big
millions
island.
of people,
Yeah.
and it affects everybody. Everybody is in peril.
Is this, not to like ruin, but is this the one where people turn into like spiders?
Yeah, that's the one where
okay.
people turn into spiders.
I remember when you were reading this when it came out.
Right,
many years
exactly,
ago.
and it
Yeah.
was fun. So,
I remember thinking like, what? That sounds stupid.
well, let's find out if you still think so. There's also a plethora of tie-ins. This collected volume, which was sent to us via an episode of Letters page, has all of them in there.
I was gonna say this is a pretty big volume.
It is pretty big.
That's
and a lot
that's
of things
lot
happen.
Of stuff.
Yeah, this would be like 2 trades.
Yeah, but the tie-ins, who cares?
Okay.
All right, so we
Cloak
move
and
past
Dagger
those.
trade powers.
Oh my
The end.
God.
Wait, that's it for Spider Island?
Cloak and Dagger Spider Island #1.
They trade powers.
They trade powers.
It has nothing to do with spiders.
They're in Spider Island when it happens. Similarly,
And they make passing reference, I'm sure, to the
I'm
events.
sure they're neck deep in Spider people. You know, but the more important thing
Dagger
is,
has to learn the darkness, and
Bingo.
Cloak is using
Yep.
light.
and people were like, I guess I'll keep using this. Thanks. Who asked for this? Cloak and Dagger, really? And so now we're just gonna pretend like this is gonna be something people want to read about, and then they kept it going.
Really?
Yeah, and then finally they traded back, and it's like, good. Spider Island has a lot of like build towards it. The background is that Aunt May is marrying J. Jonah Jameson's father.
Oh. Oh, we read a little bit about that.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah, we read about how he died.
Yeah, he straight up died.
Yeah.
But before he dies, he and Aunt May are getting together. They got married in an earlier story.
Right.
And now they are leaving. They're moving to Boston.
Oh.
Committing the cardinal New Yorker sin of leaving and moving to Boston, of all places. Because basically they were like, you know what doesn't attack everything in Boston? Like,
Right.
supervillains don't take over Boston.
Right.
There's no reason to worry
No
about it.
reason to bother.
And the reason why they're moving to Boston is because...
It's because they're huge Red Sox fans.
Well, it's cute, actually. Peter is kind of like, why? Like, you're leaving. Like, I don't know if I can handle that, and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, oh, that would have been a really great plot point when he was married, because then it's like, oh, he has a family that he can start on his own. He doesn't have to worry about the shadow of Aunt May. Instead, he's just a loser who's like living alone. So, you know, it's kind of like, oh, well, that's going to be kind of hard, because she's the whole reason that he's alone in the first place.
Right.
So why would you get rid of her?
Kind of gave up his marriage for her.
But the reason
you should
why
tell her that.
she-
You know, I gave up my marriage to Mary Jane.
Yeah.
To save your
save
life.
your life.
And you're not even gonna stay and hang out with me.
Right?
What do you mean your marriage to Mary Jane?
Oh, Jesus. Does anyone remember besides me? Oh, wait, Mary Jane does.
I'm not talking to you.
Yeah. They're friends now, right, in this story, because Dan Slott's like, I don't know what to do with Mary Jane, but all I know is I don't like her. So Aunt May is leaving, but anyway, so she's going to go, and his little signal that says, like, I approve of this, is he gets her a Red Sox hat.
Oh.
And he puts it on her, and she's like, what are you doing? I can't wear this in Queens. It's like, that's cute.
Just put it in your backpack.
You'll be
No, he put
fine
it on her
here.
hat.
Oh.
Almost as though he's like, let me just recreate the circumstance that generated one more day. I'm going to put this on your head. You'll get sniped by somebody, and then maybe Mephisto will show up, and then he'll be like, maybe you want your marriage back. But anyway, so the idea is that Aunt May's leaving, and both Jonah and Peter are like sour about it. This would be a fun opportunity for them to kind of like connect.
Yeah.
They don't.
No.
So they leave, and this begins for me my like hatred of Giuseppe Camuncoli's art on Spider-Man, and my like weird confusion with it, where like for no reason whatsoever, like Camuncoli became like the mainstay artist on Spider-Man after this volume.
Okay.
Like for this volume, it's primarily people like Humberto Ramos who draw the bulk of the book, and other people who've drawn,
Right, yeah.
do it. But Camuncoli draws this book, and for me, I'm like, this looks like a fill-in artist. Like he can't do faces, and then for no reason, like he's the mainstay artist for like a long time. And I'm just like, well, but what are you doing?
Oh my God!
Because these are so great.
Yeah, like everyone looks weird and terrible.
Yeah.
She looks like a goddamn ghost.
The reason why Aunt May's leaving, narratively, is so that she doesn't turn into a giant spider. We gotta get her out of here because we need the stakes to not include Aunt May. So what are we gonna do?
Right. We don't want the whole book to be about how he's going to save Aunt May.
Right.
There's a lot of other people in New York, Peter.
And there's a lot of other characters in the supporting cast, particularly the ones that Dan Slott created, that support this event, that are important.
People I've never heard of.
Yeah, like Max Modell and all the people who work there.
Great.
But they're cool. I like Max Modell. The rest of the cast can go. And indeed they do. When Dan Slott leaves, he's like, okay, I built this little Lego fortress here, and oh, you're up next? There. It's all ready for you. Later.
Wait, he destroys it all?
He just puts it all back.
Oh, I see.
No, he had a cardboard box over there that he shoved it all into. Because he was
got
like
super glued at first.
Poor Dan Slott loves Spider-Man. I think he really does love Spider-Man. But I think he identifies more with Dr. Octopus than Peter Parker. And so, as such, he's like, okay, well, I'm going to really build up Doc Ock because I think he should be the #1 villain, and that's really cool. And Peter Parker should be a huge loser. And then he's like, okay, but no one's going to want to use my continuity. Because, like,
no, that's true.
he was just pulled through the ringer when it came to online reaction. Just like, the Spider fandom ate him alive. And so by the time he was done, he was like...
Well, first they wrapped him up in silk.
Naturally, and then they drained him of his life.
Yeah.
Well, no, they injected him with venom first to
right,
liquefy his
dissolve
insides.
his
Yes,
insides,
yeah.
And then they sucked him dry.
Yeah, and that's evident in his Iron Man book right now. Okay, Spider Island is funny because it's one of those things, like, have you ever been to a wedding where, like, the best man starts to dig himself into a hole, but he's doing it intentionally so that he can, like, gloriously pull himself out of it by being like, aha, like, I never really liked Susie, and Susie really pulled my friend away from me, but then one day I realized that Susie was the gal for my friend, like just doing this really stupid thing. That's what Dan Slott does with Spider Island, where he's like, okay, so I've gained your favor, you guys are all on board. Clone Saga? And you're like, what? And so we meet up with like the first Gwen Stacy clone.
Yeah, I was wondering why she was in this book.
Is this Gwen Stacy? I'm wondering, and indeed it is.
It's actually...
Any blonde with a black headband,
with a black headband is
Gwen
Gwen
Stacy.
Stacy.
Yeah.
It's Joyce Delaney, who's the lady who looked like Gwen Stacy, who in the original retcon of the first Clone Saga, Jackal just kidnapped and then morphed to look like Gwen Stacy.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't even know
Oh, no.
about that.
After the Clone Saga,
Jesus.
in the 70s, somebody was like, cloning doesn't work that way. And so they had the High Evolutionary come down, and he's like, so I heard that a community college professor has perfected the art of cloning human adults from, like, just skin cells. And I need to see it to believe it. And then he finds the Gwen clone. He's like, that's not a clone. That's a lady who was just, like, messed up by the Jackal to look like Gwen Stacy because he's just an asshole.
No, it's totally a clone. You understand, I got a lot on the line here. People are going to buy my invention.
And we'll just ignore the Spider-Man clone because he's dead anyway. So
Wait
whatever.
a minute, what the hell?
And then later in the new Clone Saga of the 90s, they were like, no, she's Clone 2. High
But she
Evolutionary.
was totally clone, though.
And somebody comes out. I don't remember if it was Norman Osborn or Judas Traveler, but one of these annoying plot device characters shows up and he's like, I was manipulating Miles Warren and the High Evolutionary. I'm like, no, you were not. But it doesn't matter. So Joyce Delaney is assassinated. She's just trying to build a life for herself and ignore the fact that she was in the Clone Saga, then she's killed. In an earlier
sucks.
story called Grim Hunt, Spider-Man needs to be sacrificed in order to resurrect Kraven the Hunter. And so he seemingly dies, but then it turns out that it was actually Kane.
Oh.
And that Kane sacrificed himself, and that because it was Kane, Kraven came back, but came back a little different. And when they buried Kane, he was then transformed because the other is like, hey, no, Kane should be the other.
That does make more sense.
And you're like, oh, that's cool, because he is the other clone. He's the other Spider-Man. So he seemingly rises at the end of Grim Hunt, where it's like, come, like my tarantula. And he's been renamed, and he's all like messed up.
That is messed up.
And you're like, oh, that's cool. Then Dan Slott's like, but what if I retcon that? And so instead of it being some like unseen shadow character who is involved in the other, it's actually the freaking Jackal.
Yep.
And the Jackal was like, I made you into this, and you're going to be the tarantula now, and you're part of my machinations that will result in Spider Island.
Are you going to name me a character that I don't look like at all, just like you don't look like a jackal?
Exactly. Yeah.
Could I be the hummingbird?
You shall be the raccoon.
Because you don't look anything like one and have no virtual signals that suggest that you would be. So he slashes Kane in the face right after he resurrects himself.
Oh.
And the Jackal, that is.
Yeah.
And don't
To
worry.
show him who's boss.
Well,
or-
He's giving him the mark of Cain.
He is kind of, but only by accident. Jackal has poison laced in his claws, which will like knock him out.
Oh, I thought it was to tell his clones apart. Like you have 4 claw marks, you're number 4.
Yeah.
You have 2, you're
3.
number... Trust me, number 37 is not happy.
And then he is met by the first Gwen Stacy clone who is suffering from degeneration. And she's like, I killed Joyce Delaney, and blah.
Why?
And she's like, I'm going to kill you before you wreak havoc on another Clone Saga.
Ah.
And then she tries to kill Kane, but she doesn't. And then ultimately Kane, things get really screwed up, and both the Jackal and the Gwen clone get stuck under some scaffolding or a giant air conditioner. And so Kane has the opportunity to kill Jackal and save the Gwen clone. But instead, he just kills the Gwen clone and saves the Jackal, because the Jackal like went on and on about how he's like, you're my son, and I can be the father I never was, and blah blah blah. And so Kane is like, nah, like I'm your son now, and he's like a mindless spider monster.
I get another chance at being a father. Trial 83.
Exactly, another strike 95, buddy. The other plays into the story, and it is connected.
So
to
he's
Kane.
not just like, oh, that didn't happen.
No.
It's like, no, it did happen.
It did happen, but
important,
it's
and I'm
also
doing stuff
connected
with
to
it
the
now.
Jackal too.
Right. Jeez.
So
Okay.
that's what happens.
All
So
right.
Jackal resurrects Kane. Kane's now the tarantula, and he's a big monster.
And like he is a monster.
Yeah, he's a straight up like bug monster.
He's super gross.
He's got predator face.
Right? Yeah, he does. And he also doesn't like have the memories. You know, he's not like, oh, I'll
He's
turn
all
on
changed.
you. He's all changed.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
He's not going to be helpful.
So, yeah, you're not thinking like, well, maybe there's Kane still in there. Like,
yeah.
no, he's not.
Exactly. So, meanwhile, Spider-Man's having a great time, except for the fact that at this point in continuity, he doesn't have his spider sense. Spider sense was knocked out.
All right.
So this is the time in Spider-Man's history where he has no spider sense, okay? And he's been having to deal with that. And it's like, it's just Dan Slott being like, how can I make things more complicated?
Yeah.
Well, how can I
Introduce
give...
difficulties.
Right, that you've
for
never
Peter
seen before.
To surmount, yeah.
Yeah.
So Spider-Man
How can he
has
do anything without spider sense?
He still has the agility, speed, strength, and endurance of a spider.
But wouldn't it be like really hard to like web swing and stuff?
I mean, he can web swing in terms of line of sight. It's more like he has to like keep looking behind him.
Right. It
to make
seems
sure
like it'd be like 1,000 times more dangerous.
It is.
Or he would get shot constantly.
But he's also working for Horizon Labs, so he has access to like untold technology, and he's making good money, so he can work on new gadgets. So he's kind of like augmenting the spider sense, or the lack thereof, with like other stuff.
Yeah,
You know,
okay.
like-
Oh,
and
does he have those little bugs around him?
he does not. That's Doc Ock later. That's Superior Spider-Man, where he has like Octobots or Spider Bots all over the city that like feed into his like heads-up display. So no.
That is smart.
It is, and I will grant Doc Ock that. So Spider-Man, with his newfound wealth and technology, is just mopping the floor with most threats.
Okay.
So like Hydro Man's tearing up a couple of second stringers.
Yeah.
And Spider-Man's like just bamf, just knocks a spider tracer that also creates like ice into Hydro Man, just freezes him. He's like there.
Then he shatters him.
Well, unlike Sandman, who turned into glass and then being shattered would be like debilitating and horrifying. With Hydro Man, it's like, well, eventually he'll melt.
Unless I keep him in an icebox,
Right.
and then he'll get freezer burned.
But the idea is that he's developing technology for Horizon Labs, which he can then like sell to them, and they can patent, and then they can split the costs from his Spider-Man adventures. So he's like, okay, I figured out how to freeze Hydro Man, and now I can use that technology and reverse engineer it to become like a practical application. So it's like, it's a quick freeze technology
that I can use to encapsulate prisoners in a giant thing, so that in the future, Sylvester Stallone can take Wesley Snipes, freeze him.
Yeah.
Hey, that's a great idea, Peter, but don't we need to like test that out beforehand, like before we release it?
No need!
Taken care of.
No, he does.
I've tested it like 1,000 times.
He answers that question actually because the idea is originally he's gonna like use it as a quick freeze for organ transplant donors. And he proves it by having like a box of worms. And the worms are alive, and then he freezes them, and they're like, oh, you killed them. And he's like, nope, watch. And then he like turns it off, and they're back. It's just suspended animation. So he demonstrates the practical applications and the effectiveness of it without saying, I'm Spider-Man.
Yeah,
I figured it out.
That's
I
great.
just used it the other day on Hydro Man.
Tell me, do those worms sense pain? Can they tell us if they're in pain right now?
Who cares? They're worms.
Doesn't anybody wonder, like, wait a minute, this is kind of like the
What
technology
Spider-Man
that I
is.
saw Spider-Man using the other day.
No.
Like,
But-
Spider-Man employs some fancy new technology, and then, like, weirdly enough, a few days later, it shows
see
up
it
in Horizon
on the
Labs.
cover of the Daily Bugle.
That's because no one is around when Spider-Man's fighting these people.
Yeah, none of these people are. Except for the fact that also later Spider-Man is like, Peter Parker's like, I developed technology for Spider-Man.
Ah, okay, well, there you go.
What, you think Spider-Man's smart?
Yeah, 'cause we're friends.
Peter Parker's
Yep,
smart.
exactly.
He's
I went
my
from-
bodyguard or whatever.
That's what he does in the all-new, all-different Spider-Man. Jackal has unleashed his plan, and his plan involves, there was this time a couple of years ago in New York where there was a bedbug craze.
Yeah, I
and
remember that.
scare.
Yeah.
And so Dan Slott's like, ooh, I'll use that. So the idea is that like there's something in the bedbugs that has given pretty much everyone in New York spider powers.
When did that happen? Now? That's what's happening now?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. And so it's like, oh, it's kind of like the real world meets the fake world. Like,
Okay.
And
remember
yet-
that spider that bedbug scare? And it's like, well, aside from being itchy, you'll also get spider powers in the story.
And this doesn't affect the bedbugs at all.
Well, I don't even think that they're like real bed bugs. I think they're more like genetically engineered bugs that act like bed bugs. But the point is that they're like little bugs that bite people and give them the spider power code that the
Right.
Jackal develops along with another mysterious villain.
I see. So that happens at the beginning of this story?
It happens on the undercurrent of the story.
Oh,
Like,
so it's
we see the
people are
Jackal,
getting powers here
bingo,
and there.
and you're like,
I
oh,
see.
why does he have powers? Why does she have
Right.
powers? Meanwhile, Spider-Man has a girlfriend at this point named Carly Cooper, a character Dan Slott created,
Yes.
who works for the police department, and she has spider powers, and she wants to tell Peter about them because she doesn't know that he's Spider-Man, because in the retcon of One More Day, Spider-Man works with Iron Man, Mr. Fantastic, and Doctor Strange, and they do a combination of technology and magic to make the whole world forget that he's Spider-Man.
Right.
But if he reveals his identity to the person who knew,
All right, then they've remember
always
the whole
known.
they've
thing.
always known. Exactly. It's,
Somehow, I've always known.
And so we'll see that come into play as well.
Okay.
But
You're
Carly
just telling
doesn't
us what's
know.
happening before it happens.
Yeah. Well, I'm telling you, I'm setting the stage.
Spoiling all the reveals in the book.
We'll
And
get
now
to
we
it.
got Flash Thompson as Lethal Protector.
That'd be a fun name, but no, he's Agent Venom.
Agent Fan.
Yeah, Flash Thompson is part of some clandestine government program which captured the symbiote and then just started using it to augment soldiers in the field to do what they want. So Flash Thompson volunteers because he has no legs, because he loses his legs in an IUD in friggin'
Okay.
Iraq.
Sure.
And so he's like, I'll volunteer. I got no legs. So they give him the Venom symbiote and like injections to help him like keep the symbiote from just going Venom.
Oh, okay.
But
You never go
I was going
full
to say,
Yeah, exactly.
Why do they want a bunch of Venoms running around?
Right. Well,
But
they're just
it's-
the one Venom.
Right.
They just have Agent Venom. What's cool is that eventually Flash Thompson and Venom will like come to an understanding, and then like they become friends, and then they go into space, and then like it turns out that the Venom symbiote was never really bad in the first place, and it just needed to chill out.
Oh my god.
And then it gets even more complicated when you meet the god of the symbiotes. It's
Wait,
whole
there's
thing.
a symbiote god?
Yeah,
Is there a planet
Is
that's
it-
just a symbiote that's like the size of a planet?
that'd be great, like the Green Lantern Corps.
Yeah.
But no.
That should be the symbiote planet.
Yeah, it's
Like
it is
every
one
once in a while
symbiote.
it spores off. But
Yeah.
like,
It
it's just
shoots
one big
symbiotes into
thing.
space.
Yeah.
Great idea. They've already made it so that you can never do that. But in this story,
Crap.
Venom is Flash Thompson, and he's cool.
All right.
That's all you need.
Moving on.
Meanwhile, Spider-Man, since he has no spider sense, is trying to make things work for him, so he meets up with Shang-Chi, master of Kung Fu. And Shang-Chi is like, I'm going to help you, pretty much like because you don't know how to fight.
I'm sorry, the way you said,
You've basically been cheating.
Learn Kung Fu.
Pretty much. And so he's actually going to teach him like a Spider Fu. It's like a modified version of Spider-Man's abilities plus Kung Fu. Because Shang-Chi basically gets like some anti-grav feeties. And so he's like, okay, now that I can stick to the walls, I'm going to develop a martial art that's just yours.
I see.
That augment or
that utilizes your unique abilities. Because regular martial arts wouldn't encompass everything you can do.
They wouldn't consider how you can use
it would be limiting to you to just use regular martial arts.
There, now that I have these boots, I've already perfected your own version of Kung Fu. I'm better than you.
Right. So,
immediately.
Oh, he doesn't have the strength though.
No, he doesn't. He's just a master of
Kung Fu.
Kung Fu.
So how does he adapt the style to incorporate Spider-Man's increased strength?
We just see him do it.
It's just like, okay, well, you do that, but just like more powerful than
Right, exactly. Just don't punch me as hard as you normally would. And Spider-Man gets really, really good at it. And that helps.
Right. He can't like literally sense things like
before they happen.
From behind him, but like he knows to like pay attention to it because he practiced.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And that helps him heighten his like actual senses.
Right. As much as a normal person could.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Like Daredevil.
Right.
Except Daredevil also has a supernatural radar sense.
Yeah. So not like Daredevil.
I was gonna say like Iron Fist.
Yes. But even he is supernatural as well. But anyway, so
only with his fist.
So Spider-Man trains with Shang-Chi. And we also find out that Madam Web is there. But Madam Web is not the Madam Web we all knew, because Madam Web used to be this old lady, but she was killed in Grim Hunt. So now the redundant Spider-Woman, who was Julia Carpenter, she's Madam Web now. And Madam Web is basically...
she just takes on the name Madam Web?
Bingo. And all the powers, too.
How did that happen?
The Web of Life needed a new Madam Web.
Oh, and it's just like...
There will always be a Madam Web.
Yes.
I'm amazed it wasn't Aunt May.
That'd be amazing, but no.
Yeah. No, she must be young and hot.
Bingo.
No, I already had an old one.
Yeah.
The Web of Life is tired of
Make
old
it a
people.
redhead.
Yep.
Make another hot redhead thrown into Peter's life.
Yeah, Marvel doesn't have enough of those. So Julia Carpenter becomes Madam Web, and she is just all riddles. She's like, you need to learn this special martial art for what's to come. Spider-Man's like, stop. Don't do that.
Just tell me what's going to happen.
Yeah, just tell me. She's like, I can't. The Web of Life forbids it. And he's like, okay, well then stop bothering me.
Guess what? If it forbids you, maybe you should stop dropping hints.
Right? So we run into the Jackal and what he's up to.
Yeah,
and
what's he doing? What's he doing with his spider tarantula?
With the tarantula? Well, he is working on the genetic structure of a new specimen.
That's not Kane, is it?
No, that is Kane.
Why is he yellow now?
That's Kane?
Yeah.
And that's Kane too?
Yeah, that was Kane before the transformation. That was the new. That was the other transformation.
That was the okay.
And then
he transformed again.
Well, Jackal helped it along. Because
Yeah.
Jackal's got new spider-making abilities.
Okay.
The idea is that everyone's going to look like this in a little bit.
Right.
The spider
He's the
powers that
first
they
one.
get, that's like phase 1.
Right.
And then phase 2 is they turn into giant spider people.
So
That also are under his control.
at
And
this
then
point,
phase 3, I release giant birds to eat all the spider people.
Because they're gross.
at this point, how many people have spider powers? Like, is it generally understood in the story?
Right now, you don't know it, but like probably a couple hundred people.
Okay, it's
And
already
then, like,
happened, but you have no. It's not widely known.
Not yet.
Okay.
Jackal has a mysterious benefactor who's like helping him along, and in addition to his own like super science that he can already manipulate to his whims.
Yeah,
This
sure.
other evil.
Oh, there's other?
Yeah, there's another character named the Spider Queen has given the Jackal a new specimen to use, and he's like, oh, I've always wanted this one. Like, I don't know why I wasted so much time on Parker's DNA when I could have had this. And it's like, because your character you're a creepy science professor who wanted to bang a girl who was dating Peter Parker. And when you found out it was Peter Parker and that Peter Parker was Spider-Man, you created a goblin that you called a Jackal persona, and then you cloned him to make him feel bad. Your whole thing is that you're mad that this college student was banging another college student, and that you were old and creepy.
No, I had a machinations this entire time.
No, you didn't. You did not want to like make the world pure with clones. You didn't want secret other characters and manipulate.
No, I just got to think about clones. I'm just clone crazy.
No, you're not, because you'd be someone.
Just a cloneaholic.
You'd be other people's villain then, and not just the crappy Jackal.
No, I like clones and I hate Peter Parker. So okay, so that, but
Right.
plus I really
hate
love
Peter
the clone
Parker.
thing.
No, so he.
It's everything you said, but also more.
But plus this. So he transforms this secret specimen into King Spider because he has a superior genetic structure.
Was it the Hulk?
No, it's not the Hulk. He's not too big.
So wait, where did he get the specimen from?
The Spider Queen captured him.
Ah.
And the Spider Queen.
Who is he?
Oh, well, that's the big reveal later.
Oh, I see.
It's Captain America.
What?
Because the Spider Queen is actually a Captain America villain.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she was.
So Captain America gets friggin' captured by the Spider
Like a
Queen
chump.
and turned into a spider by the
Off
Jackal?
panel.
That is really, really not good.
And
know.
becomes mindless.
Yes, he has it together better than Kane.
Okay.
But he's still like. The idea is that once you're transformed into a spider, the Spider Queen, part of her power is that she can manipulate spiders and spider creatures.
Ah, but he's the Spider King.
Yeah, exactly. She wants him because the idea is that the Spider Queen was this character who was originally in like the 40s. Like she's actually
That sounds like it.
yeah. Her original power was actually she was like an idea that was from like a noir comic
Right.
well before. But then they were like, let's make her into like a cool character that like existed in a 1993 series with the Invaders, where like Captain America was part of a team with like Namor and stuff, and they had to fight her. And she teamed up with the Nazis because she hated communism, and she was like, the Nazis will be able to defeat communism that way. But anyway, she has like these powers, and it's not that she's like a female Spider-Man. It's more that like she can manipulate spider.
Everyone's
creatures.
connected to the web
Yeah, I
of
don't
life.
know what the
Only
hell that
spider
means.
people are. The idea is that like okay, the web of
That's
life.
the
is-
web of spider life.
Yes, the web of life is this dumb idea that was invented to make Spider-Man more cosmic and bigger than just being the most popular Marvel character for the
Right.
past 50 years.
Well, his popularity has to be justified by his power level.
right, because we need to like make those like outdated power level trading cards match up with like, you know, all the power levels of all the coolest mind
Look,
characters.
it can't be. It's not okay for everyone to like a character who's so stupid and weak like Spider-Man.
Right.
is.
He has to be like it has to be that if he dies, the world will unravel.
Right.
Not only that, but other people, when they meet him, can't be like, oh, you're Spider-Man. They have to be like, oh, you're Spider-Man, known throughout the universe and the galaxies.
Yeah,
Right.
You're one of the Spider-Men and spider creatures that are enduring and everlasting and are. Shut up.
You always have been and always will be.
Yeah, and there must always be one. Like I
Captain
liked.
America, though, that fucking chump.
Yeah, well, I beat him off panel. So,
Nobody likes him.
and the idea is that like when there's more spider people, and so Spider Queen was this villainess who Captain America actually, before he knew she was the Spider Queen, actually used to bang.
Oh.
And she shows up in her current incarnation during Avengers Disassembled. And she was a plot device that was used because there was this movie called Spider-Man that came out. And in the movie, Spider-Man had this organic webbing. And the comics need to reflect it because, like, we can't have the throngs of people go from the theater to the comic book store and go, I must have a Spider-Man comic because I saw it on the screen.
And I
then
need it
pick
to be
up.
organic webbing.
It needs to be organic webbing.
Because they'll be confused.
What?
If I see even
Devices?
a hint of a device,
Yeah. Even though
I'll be baffled and I'll throw it
barely
away.
ever comes up
Yep.
that they're
they're
mechanical
mechanic.
devices.
I'm sorry, you're telling me that this character has a spider sense,
Right, spider agility, spider stickiness,
spider strength, and he wears the same costume.
but he can't make webs.
Good day, sir.
Yeah, fie on that.
I will take my money and leave.
Yes, and I
To
will never-
DC, I will go.
where things are
Wait
far
a minute.
less complicated.
I have to still purchase them here.
Yeah, oh.
Show me your DC.
Show me your
section.
DC section. It's all the same wall. So,
What is this blue Superman?
yeah, exactly. During that time, it was not blue, but it was a complicated time for DC too. But so the Spider Queen has her own plans, and so but then the end result is she turns Spider-Man into a giant spider monster, and then he emerges from this dead spider monster changed, and he has organic
Right,
webbing.
right.
And that's the only change. And also he can talk to spiders.
he still comes out of a spider person?
Yeah, he's transformed into a spider creature, then he dies, But then there's also Peter Parker inside.
Yeah, I
like when
remember
Dana
that.
Barrett turns into a terror dog in Ghostbusters.
Yeah, but would that happen with anyone else?
Well, no, he wouldn't turn into a spider person at all.
That was part of the whole Web of Life thing.
It was part of the well, it's part of the Spider Queen thing. Like she has control and power over spider people and spiders themselves.
But it's because she's connected to the Web of Life.
I guess.
Or is she not?
She doesn't come up in Spider-Verse.
Oh.
So like that's kind of weird. In any event.
Anyway,
If turning all of these people
into spiders.
Turned connected them to the Web of Life, so she
Yes.
had like some dominion over them, that'd be cool.
It does.
All right.
You know, that's her
That
whole
makes
thing.
a little more sense.
Because she's like, okay, so I know that this hacky community college professor villain can make Spider-Men. So she works with him.
In fact, I've been watching him make Spider-Man over the years from the web, and for some reason they keep dying.
She doesn't look at the web. I don't know. The Web of Life is not really connected to her in any substantial way. It's just that she has her own connection to the spider people.
what?
I want you to know, Queen, I also cloned this Gwen Stacy woman over and over again and then banged her until she was a goop monster.
Right, exactly.
Do you want to know about that research?
I would rather not.
In fact,
the less I know about it, the better.
I have 10 binders.
I made a special note to kill you once this project is finished.
Yes, indeed she does.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but don't worry.
Don't worry, it
because
comes back. Oh, of course. You don't think I'd have said the real me, or the real me would risk putting himself out there to work with a villain known as the Spider Queen.
Even though there's moments where he comes in and it's like, positive ID confirmed the perfect genetic structure of Miles Moore, and this is the true Miles Moore.
Oh, I made a perfect clone.
Yeah, bite me.
No, that's what a clone is.
So, Julia
literally
Carpenter.
Oh, DNA test. Oh, DNA test.
Oh, you matched to the DNA. Your DNA is identical.
Clones.
Almost like a fucking clone.
Yeah. So, Julia Carpenter, being connected to the Web of Life, she is like, oh man, there's so many spiders that she can't really like hone in on anything. Like it renders her useless.
It's out of control. I'm getting all these signals from everywhere.
Bingo.
So then she leaves, right?
No, she leaves the story in terms of usefulness. So so the Jackal hatches another scheme where he basically starts recruiting douchebags who have spider powers. Like he finds all the people who like reject the power and responsibility angle.
All right.
And uses their powers for personal gain and, more importantly, to hurt people.
Yeah.
And so he forms a gang of douches with spider powers. And then he gives them all different Spider-Man costumes and then sends them out into the world to, like, just do havoc. To make Spider-Man, like, freak out and reveal himself.
Right.
Meanwhile, by the way, Mary Jane doesn't have spider powers.
Okay.
Oh, so this was like a one-time thing with the bites. Like the bugs went out in a night.
Yes, and then died. And didn't go to New Jersey.
So everyone who was gonna get spider powers has already gotten them.
Yes.
And if you don't have spider powers, you are screwed but saved at the same time.
If you don't have spider powers, it's suspicious.
If you didn't have spider powers, you'd be fucking done.
So Mary Jane is done. She has no spider powers.
So everyone turns on her. Hey!
That chick doesn't have spider
This chick
powers.
doesn't have spider powers. Get her!
Get her!
Yeah.
Get her,
She's a freak!
So there's a bunch of douchebags in Spider-Man costumes, and they're wreaking havoc throughout the city. And Mary Jane is like, oh, geez. And she tries to save somebody, and then seemingly Spider-Man shows up, and she's like, oh, Spider-Man, like, thank God you're here. Like, and he goes like, yeah, no problem. And it's just a creepy dude who's trying to make out with her.
What? Does Spider-Man have a white costume right now?
Spider-Man has many costumes.
What?
During big time? Because Johnny Storm died, and so his last wish is that Spider-Man takes his place in the Fantastic Four.
Oh.
So Spider-Man joins the Fantastic Four, but they all have cool white costumes. And so Spider-Man gets a cool white costume during
Wait,
that time.
I thought they had blue costumes.
Well, they used to. But during this period, they have cool white costumes. Because it's part of a different initiative.
Sure.
And Spider-Man has special technology that allows him to morph costumes. You can like press a button and change it.
What?
All right.
They all have that.
So he also has access to like, or not he, but the Jackal had access to a shit ton of Spider-Man costumes.
Well, yeah, he's got to dress his Spider-Man clones when he wants to do the next Clone Saga sequel.
He's always preparing
Yep.
for having a bunch of spider clones run around.
Mm-hmm. So finally, after like being put on the back burner for so long, Carly corners Peter and she's like, look, I have spider powers. And he's like, what? And that's when he like, finally notices the last horse finally crossed the finish line. That's when he finally notices that like Carly has, that the world,
Everyone's getting
everybody
spider
in the
powers,
city has spider powers. And she's like, oh man, this is gonna be great. Like, I have spider powers, and also I have like a secret crush on Spider-Man, and I'm totally into this. Hey, you make tech for Spider-Man. You should give me that tech so that I could be Spider-Girl. He's like, nope, that's not gonna happen. You don't know how that power works. You're gonna use it irresponsibly. I'm not gonna help you. This is ridiculous. Like, I one thing at a time, Carly.
Also, you're my girlfriend. You have a huge crush on Spider-Man?
Yeah. So
I'd be really upset if I wasn't Spider-Man.
Yeah, exactly. So everything goes to shit.
Spider-Man, let's bang.
No, because he's been lying to her the entire time, and if she found out, she'd be a complete, like, she'd freak out. Because he's a big fat liar.
Yeah, but it's to protect her.
Yeah, from what?
From Mephisto fucking destroying their relationship.
Exactly, that's true. So
This already happened once. This already happened once.
everything goes like to crap. You know, the Avengers, the Fantastic Four, like all get like dispatched to go like deal with all these spider people.
Sure.
All the other superheroes have spider powers too, right?
Some of them do.
The New York ones.
Like
do,
Wolverine?
right?
Wolverine, I don't recall if he has spider powers.
Can the Thing get bitten by a bug?
No.
No, neither could Luke Cage, right? So he can't get
Yeah,
spider
that's true,
powers.
actually, yeah.
Not unless it crawled inside of him.
Like in his mouth?
Yeah, which of course we all eat
Or
10
any other
spiders in our
orifice.
lifetime or something. Yeah, it crawls up his butt.
I was thinking the ear.
Yeah, well anyway, Spider-Man, he gets caught in the crossfire because all these Spider-Men are being jerks.
Yeah.
So Spider-Man shows up to try and help them, and like he just gets knocked out by the Avengers or whatever.
Because they're
Look,
like,
it's one of the fake
another
Spider-Man.
one.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, oh geez, here comes another one.
Oh, and he's dressed like the classic Spider-Man. What a dick.
So he's like, okay, I don't know what I'm gonna do. So he changes back into Peter Parker.
Okay.
And he's like, okay, like I think I've got an idea. And while he's like, he bumps into his like former colleague Nora Winters, who works for Frontline, and she's a reporter, and she's reporting on it. She's got a little handy cam, she's filming everything.
Okay.
And he's like, ooh, this is actually giving me an idea. And then he bumps into Mary Jane, and she's like, hey Peter, what are you doing? There's a city full of spider people who are like
And you're
tearing
just
things up.
walking around as Peter Parker.
Exactly. And then like Carly shows up and she starts like kicking ass and doing like what she does best. And she's like, wow, like this is kind of cool. And Peter's like, that's right. Like, because the idea is that like now that everyone has his power, does he have the responsibility to be Spider-Man? Like, you know what I mean? Like the idea is that, like, yeah, obviously. So he's like, but what am I going to do?
You're not
too.
just the powers.
Yeah.
You're the whole person.
Exactly. But like
it's
what
the
we're
whole thing.
seeing, basically his power turned bad.
Right.
Only
so it's
with
being-
some of them. Like,
But
there have to be a bunch more New Yorkers that are also good people.
There are, but they're all just watching. They're not doing anything.
Right. Because they don't have a leader.
Yes, and they don't understand. So Peter's like,
Well, they're waiting for Captain America.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
and he's too busy being a spider monster. So he's watching everybody be spider people, but getting out of the way of the carnage. Not carnage, but the carnage. And he's like, okay, I've got it.
None of these spider people have
Symbiotes, no.
No, I was going to say the spider sense, right?
They do have spider sense.
And
Yeah,
he doesn't?
That's right.
Oh, that
So he's actually
sucks.
the least effective of everyone in New York.
Yeah. So Spider-Man's like, okay.
Do they get organic webbing?
Yes, they do.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. No, they get all.
They get everything.
Yeah. Because he got one more Dade. So, you know, he loses the organic webbing.
And he loses the organic webbing, and now he's lost
And he's
the
lost the
spider
spider sense,
sense.
so that's something else.
He's down 2 powers.
It's true. And they're all really important.
But he has the most important power of all, crippling guilt.
That's right. And so he unleashes it on New York. So he asks Nora to film him. So then he, as Peter Parker, clings to a wall or a pipe, and he says, like, look at everybody, I'm Peter Parker, and I have spider powers, just like all of you. And so what I need you to do is to use them responsibly. Like, what I see out there, I don't see a bunch of, like, cowards, nor do I see a bunch of bad people with spider powers. I see, like, New Yorkers, and now, for, like, one moment, all of New York can be superheroes. And so he like leads the charge, and so everyone sees it, and the video goes viral, and so it inspires and emboldens all these New Yorkers to like rise up and be spider people and kick ass and help the Avengers.
Right.
And so Peter Parker, along with like everyday Joes, save the day.
Cool.
From this like
Peter,
horde
quick,
of-
use your organic webbing.
That's gross.
We
I'm
need you
not
to
gonna
save that
do it.
person. They're falling.
No, I'll just go catch them, Carly. Quick.
I don't understand. Don't you have the same powers as the rest of us?
Yeah.
Here, quick, I'll throw this at your head from behind. But you'll catch it, because I know you will.
Because I have spider powers. Wow, you're just that much of a klutz. So, Reed Richards teams up with Max Modell of Horizon Labs, because they have great facilities and whatnot, to come up with a cure for this spider problem.
Okay.
And
Why?
because it's a real problem. Because like we can't trust all these people to have spider powers. Plus, we don't know where it came from, and it's a real issue.
All right.
So,
I mean, it is.
meanwhile, we're also finding out that like there's this random dude who's
fuck?
there's a dude who's just swinging by, and he's being chased by Anti-Venom.
Oh.
Anti-Venom is Eddie Brock. When Eddie Brock lost the symbiote,
Right.
it went to Mac Gargan, who was the Scorpion. When Eddie Brock faced off against Mac Gargan, a little piece of the symbiote was left inside of Venom. And through a story called New Ways to Die, a new symbiote is formed on Eddie Brock, which is it's an inverted Venom suit.
Right.
So some piece of the symbiote
Imprinted onto Eddie
him.
Brock
Yeah.
or something, or
so-
copied.
yeah.
So
And so as a result, Eddie Brock becomes a new character called Anti-Venom, who has the ability to like cure ailments. It also cures his cancer, conveniently enough. And it cures like people of their spider powers.
And coincidentally, now his costume looks like Peter Parker's white costume.
It does. That is
except
a
for his
coincidence.
Interesting.
terrible violator mouth.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Well, it's Venom. It's got to be Venom. So, but
This doesn't look like Venom. Venom doesn't have red eyes or a yellow mouth.
No, it's artistic license. We're just looking at this crazy looking costume. Anyway, the point is that Anti-Venom
He can cure people of their spider things.
Well, the idea is that when he was first invented, the closer he got to Spider-Man, the more his power started to wane. Like it turns out that if Anti-Venom had attacked Spider-Man or stabbed him, he could have actually robbed him of his spider powers. So
Why?
Because that's part of his thing. Because his spider powers are technically like a disease.
because there's still a little part of Venom that hates Spider-Man.
Well, there is. And
So when Anti-Venom was like forming, that was like a key
no,
part
it's
of
just
its
that he
genesis.
also,
like
Sure.
Spider-Man.
No, it's that
I hate
Spider-Man's
Spider-Man.
powers came from like a spider bite, technically venom.
Okay.
Technically, it's a disease.
So one of Anti-Venom's powers is he just cures people around him?
He cures people who touch it, who interact with his physiology.
Oh.
Does
I thought
he
it just
cure
cured him
like
because
bad eyesight?
I don't know. I've never seen it done. And it doesn't matter because it's moot after the story. So he's running around Anti-Venom, and he's just stabbing people with spider powers and robbing them of their spider powers.
Oh.
He's like, I'm curing you! And they're like, damn it!
This was great for a minute.
Yeah.
Well, that's what the Fantastic Four was going to do.
Yeah.
So,
I'm just more effective.
yeah. I just did it faster.
Yeah, it's true. So
Is he doing it maliciously or he's doing it to help him? Like, is he...
he's doing it to help them because
Okay.
he thinks that he's on because don't forget Eddie Brock's kind of like a holy roller.
Yeah.
So he's doing it as kind of like a religious crusade. He's like, this is my true purpose. I can cure everyone.
This is why I was made.
Yes.
Right.
He goes to police impound with Carly, and he's like, I think they just go to the police station, and Pete goes to the impound to check things out. And he's looking at all the confiscated Sinister Six equipment and whatnot. And
I like that that's just inside one of the precincts.
Yeah. Well, it's Carly's precinct. It's the one that Spider-Man operates out of mostly.
It's the main one.
Spider-Man is the main precinct. And so Carly starts talking about how she's like, I can't shoot webbing much, and he's like, oh, that's because it's organic. You need to eat more starchier foods, and it'll generate more. And she's like, how do you know that? And he's like, because Spider-Man told me. So he hooks up with some webbing that he has. He's like, here's some web shooters that Spider-Man gave me.
Oh, my God.
He gave you web shooters?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Anyway.
And I haven't been eating real good, so I'm going to use them too.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? You had a sack of potatoes last night.
Yeah, no, I threw them away. I pretended that I ate them, but I threw them away.
I have this thing about textures.
I have an eating disorder, and I
And I'm
can't
sorry you
produce
had to find
webs.
out about it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Thank God
Okay.
Spider-Man gave me these web shooters.
Yeah,
for no
and
reason.
that I brought one for you. There's actually a convenient reason why they're at police impound is because a couple of Spider-Man's D-list villains have been sent there to get some equipment.
Right.
And so Carly and Pete team up to fight against a couple of lame characters like White Rabbit and Scorcher
Oh.
and Chance. And it's just a fun little hey, we're doing some Easter eggs for Spider-Man fans. Look at these characters, lol.
Remember them?
Yep.
And White Rabbit is just a furry.
Yes.
That's all she is.
She's just a rabbit-looking person
Yeah.
who decided to be a villain.
That's correct.
That's like if I walked around in a tuxedo with bright colors and was like, I'm a bad guy.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm a villain now.
There's some villains that do that.
Yeah.
It's weird though that she is genetically like a rabbit person though. It's not like an outfit.
Yeah.
Oh, she's an actual rabbit? I thought
No,
she was
she-
paint.
It's an outfit.
Oh, okay.
It's a suit.
It's just her getup.
yes.
Got
but
it.
like the suit like allows her hop.
Oh, so
White
she does have
Rabbit-
a power. Okay.
Well, yeah, but like it's not like an innate power. It's
She's
not
got a power
genetic.
like
Right.
the Scorpion has a power.
Bingo.
It comes from a
Right.
suit.
Yes,
Or
exactly.
Iron Man.
Yeah. It's
Except hers is way lamer.
the less said
and
about
totally
White Rabbit,
useless.
the better. I don't know why Dan Slott keeps using it.
I was gonna say I feel like I see her in like every Dan
do.
Slott book.
It's
She's
Straight
the
up
new
you do.
Shocker.
kind of, yeah. She's his Shocker. So Richards and Modell are like looking at the, they're checking out like different people who've like, J. Jonah Jameson's there, and they're like, oh, turns out you got the spider bite too. Like he's like, well, I refuse to use these powers. I'm not gonna be like a wall crawling menace out there. And they're checking out. And they're like, oh, like look at that. Turns out that like the longer you have the exposure to this thing, the more likelihood you have of turning into a giant spider monster. And so like things are coming apart. Like the web of life is getting too complicated, so Madam Web's falling apart. There are too many people and not enough cure because there isn't no cure yet from Max and Richards.
Except for Anti-Venom.
Except for Anti-Venom, who's just like freaking out and just stabbing people left and right and giving them their, he's like fixing them up.
Yeah.
And it's
Well, that's good because he's saving them from becoming spider monsters.
he is, but they don't know that. So they're just like
And no
yelling
one's
at
paying
him.
attention to Anti-Venom doing this either.
Yeah. No. He's doing it over there.
Right. Well, because it's just chaos right now.
Oh, yeah, no. I mean, like, there's also a subplot of, like, Anti-Venom is sent out to fight against, like, the Spider King.
What?
So Spider King and
What
Anti-Venom
the hell is
fighting.
the Spider King?
That's
Cap.
Captain America, who's been turned into a giant
Oh,
spider
I did not
monster.
realize he was called Spider King.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes. I mentioned it earlier, but I can
I
understand
missed it.
why we breezed past that. But yeah, and that's kind of fun because it's like, oh, it's Agent Venom. He's he's a soldier and he's fighting against Captain America.
Why does he just stab him and cure him?
That's Anti-Venom. Agent Venom is regular Venom in Flash Thompson.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Agent Venom's fighting against the Spider King.
Oh, okay.
So
But Agent Venom is Venom.
yes, it's the
Right.
Venom symbiote.
Right.
Right.
So Spider-Man goes to fight against the Shocker, who now has
Yay.
6 arms.
And
Oh.
also 6 power gauntlets?
Yeah, well, he goes and grabs he has spares.
Is that because he's turned into a spider monster?
Yeah.
He's like partway there? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Which is kind of an homage to an old school Spider-Man story where he tries to cure his Spider-Man powers and winds up instead growing 4 extra limbs.
I remember. That
Yeah.
was,
It's a Morbius
weird.
story.
yeah.
But-
No, wait. I'm thinking of a different thing. I'm thinking of the Spider-Man that has
Yeah.
extra arms. What they call him? I don't remember. He was like rah! He was like a scary monster Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah, that's the Man Spider.
The Man Spider.
Yes, yeah, no.
No, that's different. Okay, this happens many times.
Yeah.
Someone gets extra arms.
A couple of times now.
Yeah. No, you're thinking of more like The Fly.
Yes, but so the Shocker is robbing a bank, and he's doing it because he's turning into a spider monster, and he hooked up with the Mad Thinker, who promised him that he could come up with a cure for him if he sold him like a whole bunch of money.
Oh, okay.
Shocker's like, Spider-Man, you gotta help me. Like, I don't want to be a monster. Like, I'm just Shocker, man. I'm just Shocker. And Spider-Man's like, oh crap, Herman, I'm sorry. Like, I don't know what's happening. And then Carly starts to turn into a monster, and he's like, oh no.
Yeah.
And then the Spider Queen's like, mwahaha, now to hatch my nefarious scheme.
Right.
There, I'm finally revealed.
The ta-da.
And I guess she controls them all.
Yeah, she's like,
Yeah.
now you're all spider monsters. And Mary Jane, meanwhile, is like, well, I guess it's a good thing I'm not a spider monster.
They were
I
spider
started to feel a
people
little jealous,
before.
but now less.
So how come
Yes.
she couldn't control them before?
She couldn't control them. They just got spider powers. It's when they become more spider-like that he can control them.
Right,
Like
because she can't
couldn't-
control Spider-Man.
Exactly, but
Right.
when she pinned him down in Avengers Disassembled, she had to like kiss him multiple times in order to like deliberately physically connect with him.
Because he wasn't
Oh
Spider-Man.
no!
Yeah.
Stop it, Spider
He
Queen!
was, and he was actually married during that time, and it looked like they were making out. So Mary Jane's like, "Ooh, I don't like that."
Oh.
But anyway, yeah. But she had to physically connect with him in order to make him into a spider monster, so that she could control him.
so
she
she
can
could have
only
like
control
shaken his
monsters.
hand,
Yes.
or like
No, she has to like physiologically like get in there.
yeah. So
Like with her tongue.
it has to be sucking
With
face.
tongue. Big tongue.
I have to get in there
Yeah.
with tongue.
That's right. So they go from spider monsters immediately into just literal giant spiders.
Right. They don't spend a lot of time in the transition stage.
No, they do not.
That's because they don't have enough willpower.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or
No,
something.
it's
Well, look at all these people. These people are giant spider monsters.
that's a spider monster. That's Captain America.
He's
That's the Spider
different.
King. I just happened to turn the page from the spider monsters to the 2 spider monsters
That look a little
like
different.
actual monsters. They're anthropomorphic spiders. The other guys are just giant spiders who were just scurrying about Manhattan. Mindless. They don't even remember that they're themselves. They can't even articulate. They don't know.
So they
can't even spin a web that says "I was once human."
Right. They can't
Some
Charlotte
pig.
it up. No, they are just mindless spiders.
Okay.
No, Spider King and Tarantula, formerly Captain America and Kane, respectively.
They had a totally different process wherein they turned into spider-like monsters.
Bingo.
Oh,
and they are also under the control of the Queen.
This is wonderful because he's wearing red, white, and blue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, is great because, and this is why I don't read freaking tie-ins, in the prelude, when he transformed Captain America into the King Spider, he was just like stark white.
Which sucks.
And looked nothing like he does when they reveal him later in the story.
And they're just like, oh, no, wait, never mind. He's red, white, and blue.
Yeah. So Anti-Venom sets up shop in the church that made him into Venom in the first place.
Yeah.
And there's all these people who are like half monster, half spider. We're like, I heard that you can fix us. And he's like, yes, I will save all of you.
Quick, ring the bells, Tom. Wait, no, don't ring the bells.
So he's like curing people with his anti-venom serum or whatever. And it's
cool.
And it's going great.
If he, like, those are the people that are still kind of people, what if he does it to an actual spider?
It should, I don't remember. It should cure them. And in fact, it does.
Okay.
But the
Well, wait
spiders
a
don't
minute.
know.
What about a spider that was just a spider from birth?
That's
happens
just a
to that?
spider.
Well,
he's not going to cure that.
that would
There's
be
nothing
like
to cure.
That would be this big. I don't think it would be a giant.
And he was
Some of them are like that big.
There's nothing to cure. They need to have something wrong with them in order for him to correct it.
I beg your pardon.
I'm just trying to.
It's a spider. There is something wrong with it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It needs to be
it's
cured of its
gross.
life because it's terrible. No, I'm just kidding. Spiders are good. Don't kill spiders.
I'm just
Yeah, I like
trying to wrap
spiders.
my head around the
not a
rules
fan
of
of
the
them,
story
but-
here.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. If they're in the house, that's when I'll kill them.
That's
they're
true.
outside, I'll leave them alone.
That's their domain.
Yeah.
Would you say that Anti-Venom's helping everybody right now?
Anti-Venom's helping every. If without Anti-Venom, they'd be
You'd be
freaking
fucking done.
Exactly.
I'm sorry. Why is Mary Jane even in this story?
Because she plays a crucial role.
Yeah, same as Anti-Venom.
Yeah.
I play a crucial role of not being
gonna put
connected
all
in any
together.
way.
Right
Well,
at the
she
end.
inspired Peter to rally New Yorkers to help quell
thought
the
Carly
first
did that.
problem. No, that was Spider-Man. Or Mary Jane. Mary Jane's the one who gives him the idea to do.
I thought he saw Carly like trying, and then he
She
was like,
saw Carly and she was like, "Look at how great she look at how she's making a difference. Like you need to be
I
doing
see.
that too."
Okay.
Yeah, that's my girlfriend. That's your girlfriend? I hate her now.
No,
what
she's
a bitch.
She broke up with him. She's all for it. Anyway, Mary Jane becomes overwhelmed by giant spider monsters, just actual spiders, and then suddenly she flails an arm to knock one away from her, and it launches the spider across the room. And she's like, "Ah, about damn time I got my spider powers."
Oh,
So then she
so she did get bit.
did get bit.
But now
It just took
Now
longer.
It took longer.
it took longer?
It took
Why?
longer for it to take effect.
Because she'd been smooching Spider-Man all those years.
Yeah.
What?
Because of all the times that they shared a toothbrush, according to the narrative of the story. Basically,
Yeah.
that in the inverse of Spider-Man Reign, where it's like he gives her radiation poisoning. In this,
Why did you have to bring that up?
if he doesn't pull out Mary Jane, it gives her the ability to stave off this spider infection.
That doesn't make any sense.
No, they're white blood cells, I swear.
So literally, her proximity to Spider-Man and probably the banging
Right.
allowed her to like. It's more like some part of him imprinted onto her.
He gave her spider antibodies.
It delays the inevitable.
But
Sure.
she's
will
still
eventually
becoming a
become-
spider person.
Yes.
Right.
It's just that the period
She's
where you're at,
earlier in the process than these spider monsters.
and we know that like the phase
takes
where
longer.
you're a spider person, where you're like cool and have powers, is a lot longer than the rest of the other.
Yeah, for her.
Yeah. So she's just helpful now.
Okay.
So
Oh, thank God, Mary Jane, I could always rely on you.
That explains that pose that she was in a moment ago, where she's all like sprawled out. That's like
Yeah.
a spider. She's going into spider mode. I was like, why would she fall like that?
right, it's very unnatural, but no, she's on a wall.
Oh, she's on a wall. Oh, okay.
So Jameson kills Smythe because he can't be controlled.
Whoops.
He's like halfway because they're like Richards and Modell are like we got some like we're
Are
trying.
they turning into spiders?
No, they're good.
Why?
You also-
because the Future Foundation is bug resistant.
Ah.
And you also can't bite Reed Richards, he's too rubbery.
I would
Or
argue
his skin
that.
would just,
Doing?
yeah,
Like, nope.
would just fold under the teeth.
Yeah,
Just move out of the way or something.
But they're trying to keep Jameson, and they're like, "Come on, chill out." And he's like, "Okay, no." And then he kills Smythe because he killed his wife, and he's mad.
Okay.
But
And then he turns into a spider.
moving on.
Well, I
from
finally have the
tie-ins-
power to do this, so it's my responsibility to kill you.
I don't know anything about that. I've never heard. I don't have an Uncle Ben. Anti-Venom goes and is brought before Reed Richards, and he's like, "Hey, I think I've got like what you're looking for, because I'm able to cure the spider problem."
Okay.
What the hell is this?
That's a hot picture.
It's a hot picture of Mary Jane using spider powers.
In underwear.
Yeah. Spider-Man
For-
underwear.
Those are workout shorts.
Yeah.
No, they are.
She's going to the gym
Yeah.
in her knee-high stockings and
Those are thigh-high socks.
Yeah.
Yes, those are thigh-high socks and a tank top.
Jesus Christ.
yeah.
Slot, what are you doing?
That's Humberto Ramos. I'm sure he didn't tell him to draw that.
Yeah.
That being said, I'm glad he did. So Mary Jane actually winds up coming by the Lady of Saints Church, where all the people who are cured by Anti-Venom are holed up because now they're being inundated by giant spiders.
Right.
And so she protects them from the assault.
Okay.
So Mary Jane is just like she's learned from Peter Parker, like that with great power comes. She's like, I have to help these people. And she's like, and I get it now. And for her, she's like, she kind of like comes to this realization where it's like, when people don't want me to be married to Peter Parker, they make me not understand why he needs to risk his life all the time.
Right.
But now that I have these powers and I see people in peril, I can't help myself. I have to help them. And I know that I have a responsibility to help them.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh shit. And I remember reading this and being like, oh my God, he gets it.
Right.
And he's going to fix the marriage.
Right. And then she won't be obnoxious about it.
No!
Damn it.
But like,
God
I
damn it.
almost have a moment.
yeah, but this sets the stage for them getting back together. And it works for me. So, anyway.
What
Years
about
later.
Carly?
Yeah.
What about Carly?
Screw Carly.
Carly sucks.
Carly sucks. She's the most developed new girlfriend that Peter Parker's ever had, and that's saying a lot. Eventually, she turns into like a half goblin person and then just leaves, never to be used again.
Whoa.
She becomes a goblin person?
Yeah,
God.
I know.
It sucks knowing Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to be part of Spider-Man's tangled web.
Now that all these people are just spiders, they're not connected to the web of life, right?
So she gets her shit together. Madam
Okay,
Web gets her
cool.
crap together. So she goes to Reed Richards and she's like, okay, the web of life is telling me like that Anti-Venom's important and that like all this stuff. So like you got to listen to me. I'm back together. You need Anti-Venom. Anti-Venom's source is the cure for the spider problem. So we got to like get everybody together and we got to like you got to go to Horizon Labs and like synthesize Anti-Venom into an Anti-Venom for the spider problem.
Right. Like
I see what you did there.
Experiment with him until you find out the thing in him that cures people and
The
make,
thing in
make
him
more
is
of that.
him.
What does that
It's
mean?
the Anti-Venom symbiote.
You're giving everybody a little bit of symbiote?
Don't worry, it's an inert symbiote.
So Spider-Man,
It's like a flu vaccine.
yeah. So Spider-Man goes to Horizon Labs to try and help like come up with a cure. He goes to his personal lab, which is like the whole thing is a high-tech super science thing. It doesn't like so. The less we talk about it, the better. He is immediately assaulted by Tarantula, who has been sent by the Jackson Queen to
Finally,
stop him.
Tarantula does something.
Yeah. So the Tarantula and Spider-Man fight.
What is the Spider Queen trying to do? What is her plan?
The Spider Queen's plan is she wants to turn everybody into spiders.
Yeah, no, but that's okay. So mission accomplished. Now what?
Well, now I'm gonna rule the world. Her connection to the spiders augments her powers and allows her to become that which she is always meant to be, which is a giant spider monster.
Wait, she becomes a giant spider monster?
Yeah, but like not like them. They're drones. She becomes like a true spider queen.
But
So-
she needed them to become drones to become the Spider Queen
Because, like, without an army, how can you be a queen?
Yeah,
or whatever.
yeah.
Before, she was just a queen of, like, normal-sized spiders. And, like, that sucks.
Yeah.
Even though there are
So-
many more of those throughout the world.
Yeah. So Richards, Modell, and Anti-Venom team up.
Okay.
And what they find out is, okay, we're going to use the Anti-Venom symbiote to create a cure for the problem. And so they do. And they're like, listen, this is going to use every ounce of the Anti-Venom suit. After this, you're just going to be Eddie Brock now.
What?
We're going to put the genie back in the bottle of Eddie Brock. And he's like,
We
I
need-
gladly give up everything, for I shall give my only begotten powers to save New
Right.
York. And so he does.
All right.
And so they create a...
Jesus, man. Lay off the
So,
Jesus.
wait a
Bring
minute.
it, dial it back.
The amount of the anti-venom happens to be that they need is the exact amount that he is made of.
Yeah.
And it's not like...
What if there had been like twice as many
Well,
people
no.
that
Well,
needed
they,
it?
They use that in conjunction with whatever they were working on. It becomes a big, like, Olympic-sized pool of cure.
There was no way
It's
to
the same
use any
way-
less of him and
Yes.
get the same result.
That's right.
I want you...
It's the way that, like, if you were out of dish
Good thing
soap,
the math worked.
you use the dish soap and you're a little out, so you fill it with water and
Right.
you get it
You
makes
dilute it
last
a little bit,
longer.
yeah.
Hey, dilute it.
Why don't they just dilute it more so that he can have some left?
Why? Screw it, Eddie Brock. The point is...
No, don't screw Eddie Brock. Screw Anti-Venom.
Yes.
Anti-Venom
Yeah.
sucks.
So
Because his powers are bullshit.
Eddie Brock sucks too.
Not anymore. Now he's
No?
awesome.
Oh.
Does he say, like, very well, you have a giant pool, but the only way I'll let you cure people is if I dunk them and submerge them
Oh
in the
my
pool?
God! Turns into a baptism situation. That would be freaking amazing.
Eddie the Baptist.
No,
saving people.
they just basically
one
take
at
his
a
powers
time.
and then like kick him out with the rest of them. And
All right, thanks. Later.
Yeah, they put him in
Normal
the lobby.
person.
You can stay in the lobby.
Yeah.
So Spider-Man and Tarantula fight, and they wind up. Their fight goes all the way to the cure chamber.
Ah.
And then Spider-Man knocks Tarantula into the vat of cure, and when he emerges, he is completely cured of not only his tarantulaism, but also his cellular degenerative disorder from the cloning problem. So now he's a perfect specimen of Peter Parker.
Oh.
So Kane is cured.
So Kane is Peter Parker.
So Kane isn't Kane anymore. Everything that made Kane Kane is gone.
Except for the fact that there was so much on... Okay, so like you made Kane, right? And he's Peter Parker with spider powers.
Yeah.
Then you
But he's
add
all
the
fucked
other.
up.
And then you add the Spider-Man part, like
Right.
the tarantula part.
Yeah.
So he threw him in the cure washed out the tarantula part and the other part, but left the Spider-Man part. So
Right.
it's basically just Kane with Spider-Man powers. So
What
now Kane is Peter Parker straight up with Spider-Man powers.
Okay.
But wouldn't that mean that if Peter touched the pool...
He would be cured of his spider powers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So shouldn't he not be anywhere near that pool?
He should just stay away from it. Which
No,
he
why
does.
he wouldn't be cured of spider powers? Because
Yes, he would, because the Anti-Venom serum that they made is from Anti-Venom, which cures the spider powers.
but only the spider powers that were given to people with the bed bugs by the bed bugs, right? Not Peter
No,
Parker.
no, because Anti-Venom, if he were to like stab Spider-Man, Spider-Man would lose the spider powers.
I don't understand, but friggin' Kane doesn't lose his spider
It
powers.
only goes
Spider-Man
like
had-
2 levels.
Yeah, because Spider-Man had at least because Kane had 2 levels of extra
No,
powers.
I agree. It's absolute horseshit and it's dumb.
He should straight up just be
A
Kane,
person.
Kane Parker, regular guy.
Yeah.
But instead, we get another Spider-Man character out of this, which they spin out, and it's cool because Ben Reilly's dead at this point. So Kane becomes the new Spider-Man, and during Big Time, he designed a whole slew of new cool Spider-Man costumes for Spider-Man, and one of them was so cool. But we can't have a Spider-Man book with this new costume when we want to sell Spider-Man books during like movies and stuff. We got to keep them in the red and blues and stuff, or the white one if he's in the Fantastic Four book. So we have this really awesome marketable Spider-Man costume that no one's using. We'll give it to Kane, and he'll be the Scarlet Spider because it's a red Spider-Man suit.
Ah.
And so we'll spin a book out of that, and it's a really pretty decent book. Where Kane's like,
So this is where the Scarlet Spider is born.
Yes.
Spider Island. Okay.
And the Scarlet Spider moniker is adopted by Kane in deference to Ben Reilly, the character that died in service of the greater good, and also the guy that Kane originally used to like attack and try to murder throughout his entire career.
Right.
So now that Kane, aka Tarantula, has been cured and fixed and no longer connected to the Spider Queen, she's like, hey, I'm not connected to my agent, like one of my the right hand of my godhood, like.
What the hell?
Jackal, you said that you'd be able to like keep it. Like, what happened? He's like, I don't know. So she uses her Spider Queen scream and vaporizes Jackal.
Ah!
And you're like, yay, he's dead. It was a clone. He's not dead. So then she's like, this is excellent. Now that whatever, no matter.
Hey, another
and,
tie-in.
yeah, and in that tie-in, Steve Rogers is cured
Oh.
because they got the Anti-Venom
In
cure.
a tie-in,
Yeah.
the King Spider is cured.
Yes.
So when we go back to the story, he's no longer King Spider?
That's correct.
Spider King,
Yeah.
I guess is what I
Yeah,
should have said.
he's now Steve Rogers Super Soldier because Bucky is Captain America at this time.
Does anybody say like, what? Wait, what happened?
No. So Steve Rogers is cured. Then he goes to try and take out the Spider Queen because technically she's really his villain.
Right.
So he goes and attacks her.
He hits her in the face with a shield.
He hits her in the face, and he's going to kill her because she needs to be killed.
She's too dangerous to be kept alive.
Oh, he tries to kill her in Avengers Assembled. Like she's like trying to take over everything with on top of a roof, and Captain America literally just goes like, no, and he just charges at her, and he knocks her off the roof, and she falls and dies. And
oh shit!
And Spider-Man's like, yo, that fucked up.
Yeah.
And he goes, sorry, it's the nature of the beast. I got to do it.
War.
Yeah. And Pete's like, you used to be cool. Like you're messed up, Cap. And Cap's like,
I'm gonna be on Iron Man's side in Civil War.
Exactly. I don't know if I like you. So Cap, like, who also, of course, relinquished the shield to Bucky when he was Captain America, now has like this cool, like, wrist-mounted digital shield or whatever. It's like a holo shield that actually has like hard, like, tangibility.
And I can also throw it.
Yep. But he doesn't. He just drives it through a body.
Yikes.
And when she dies, she is reborn as the Spider Queen.
That's what she wanted the whole time.
Yes,
You've
fools.
completed the ritual or fucking whatever.
So Spider Queen is now like just a giant spider.
That's why superheroes shouldn't kill people.
Yeah, because you might actually unlock some secret power that allows them to be even more powerful than they were before.
Yeah.
When Hulk smashes Onslaught, what happens? He becomes pure thought itself. And then the whole Avengers have to be drawn by Rob Liefeld. And that is the darkest timeline of them all. So Spider-Man and Kane are at the cure when everybody needs to get to the cure. And they're like, hey, what's going on? So Peter Parker gives Kane his Spider-Man costume. And then he just stands there. So when everybody shows up, Spider-Man's there and like a half-naked Peter Parker.
Hey,
what's up? Now what's interesting is because Spider-Man has worked for Horizon Labs for a while, and because he has been coming and going from the lab, and people have done this before, and he's
now finally they're seen together.
They're seen together, but also they've seen Peter Parker in his underwear in his lab, and he's been like, it helps me think. So like they are like not phased.
I just sleep here and everything.
Well, sometimes I like working without any clothes on, and I'm just eccentric that way. And so they're like, oh no, Peter in his underwear is all like that happens all the time. But now we've actually seen Spider-Man and Peter Parker in the same place, so the genie's back in the bottle in terms of his power.
Couldn't Kane just look like Peter Parker and pretend to be him since
he had
they look exactly alike?
long hair.
Oh no, it grew hair on me.
No.
So Kane is just...
that's what you say. No, shut up.
Hair. Peter, how'd you grow 6 months worth of hair in the last 2 minutes?
It's
I'm
a
a scientist.
compound I just developed.
It's like Super Rogaine.
I want to see it on my desk in the next couple of days.
Oh no, there was only one vial of it.
Convenient, and you used it on yourself.
I created it by accident.
Meanwhile, he has bald colleagues who were like, "Thanks."
Well, I couldn't ethically test it on other people.
I would take that risk.
Yeah, well, I won't.
Every bald person I know would take that risk. So,
wait, is Kane's just a good guy now?
Yeah.
He lost.
He was a good guy. He sacrificed his life to save Peter in Grim Hunt.
Yeah, but then he was gross, and then he was a bad guy.
Yeah, then
but
the other
he was
got
being
him.
controlled by the
I
Jackal's
see.
machinations and the Spider Queen. Anyway, so now Kane's a good guy.
Yeah, but when he was risen from the grave, wasn't that the other version of him?
Indeed.
And that version was gross and evil, right?
And also evil.
No, it wasn't evil. It's just he was gross looking.
He's just gross. Okay.
Yeah. So Spider-Man gives Kane one of his cool stealth suits, and so the two of them like swing into action to go deal with the Spider Queen who's just destroying everything.
Wait,
Wow.
so now...
Wait, so he put
gives him
Kane in his suit.
his spider suit.
No, he gives him a different suit.
Right, but
Oh,
first
yeah.
he gave him his suit.
Yeah.
And then he was
And then he was
okay,
like, all right, now give me my suit
now
back.
give me
That's
my
my
suit,
suit.
and now I'll give you
I'll
this
give you a
suit.
different
And you
stealth
go-
suit.
Yeah. So after
can't-
that
we can't-
complication,
Why
Here's the
can't
thing.
I just stay in this suit and you wear the stealth suit?
the people get confused. Let's just keep it this way. So,
Because then
But
when...
on the previous page, I was in that suit,
I know,
and now
but
they
you
need
need
to
to
learn
change.
that I'm in this
he
suit.
does have a thing that like allows his suits to change back and forth. So maybe he
He just pressed the button to make it the stealth
change
suit.
it to the stealth suit. Doesn't matter. So Spider-Man and Kane go and face off against the Spider Queen.
Okay.
Hey, I can do that too. I changed mine. Now we're both Spider-Man.
No, it'll
Stop,
be
go
confusing.
back.
Stop doing that. You can be a
Confusing for
different
who?
Spider-Man.
I know who I am. You know
Don't
who
make
I
it
am.
weird. So
Now we can do like high fives and things, and we're like, yeah, this is cool.
Yeah, and then when someone wants to kill one of us, we can like point at each other and be like, he's Spider-Man, and he's
No, he's Spider-Man.
and then they won't know what to do, and then
we'll
we'll
be like,
argue.
I'll just kill you both.
The
And
city's
they're like,
being
oh, yeah.
destroyed by a giant Spider Queen. Focus.
Well, I'm not the one that's being stopped just because I'm wearing the same suit. That's you, man.
So the two of them swing into action, and then Spider Queen just like knocks Peter Parker out of the way.
Oh.
And right before he is smashed against a building, Mary Jane swings in and saves him.
Yay.
All the superheroes have been dispatched because the Spider Queen, now a giant spider monster, is controlling all of New York, who are all spider drones. And so, like, there's just these giant spider people. And the Avengers and the Fantastic Four and everybody else, they can't kill these spider people. They're human beings.
Right. So they have to...
they gotta, like...
stop!
Yeah. So it's not really working.
Right.
So Spider-Man's like, oh my god, like, this is impossible. There's no way we can stop this. Like, I need, like, we have the cure, but, like, we can't get them to, like, line up at, like, Horizon Labs. We need, like, 100... Like, we need, like, 1,000,000 needles. Oh my god, I've got it. So then he and Mary Jane swing over to the police impound where they grab Dr. Octopus's golden Octobot drones. There's like thousands of these little like drones that Doc Ock used in a previous adventure.
Yeah.
Right.
And he's got this like helmet, this mind control helmet that Doc Ock used
I
to
remember.
control them.
Yeah.
And so Pete's like, I'm gonna use them, and they're all gonna. And so what he does is he's like, I need them to go to like 1,000,000 different places at once, all across Manhattan. So he goes to the Empire State Building, and he uses the antenna on the Empire State Building to augment his own radio-controlled helmet to talk to all the Octobots. And also all the Octobots go and they like sip up a little bit of cure.
Right.
In
In their mouths?
Well, no, they're like little balls with legs. So like I assume they fill the little ball that's in the middle with cure.
Why would they have been designed with that ability?
So anyway, they
It's
absorb
Dr.
the cure.
Octopus. They have an ink sac somewhere in there.
Yeah. So they absorb the cure, and so he turns the Octobots into Spider-Bots, and then he disperses the Octobots, now Spider-Bots, across the city, and they start like stabbing spiders.
Yeah.
Like all over the place.
Hell.
Meanwhile, all the superheroes are like fighting against them. When the Spider Queen gets wind of the fact that like some of her people are being transformed, and
people.
she realizes that like the fewer spider people there are, the less control she has over being a spider monster, and like the more her power starts to wane, she sends all the drones to go kill Spider-Man. So Spider-Man's like, I have to control the Octobots using the helmet. So Mary Jane is just fighting against all of the spiders.
Right.
He has the biggest grin on his face, which you get to see because in a big tussle he gets his mask torn.
Well, of course.
But you see his grin on his face. She's like, what the hell are you smiling for? And he's like, because right now, at this moment, I am able to save everybody.
Yeah, well, you're not able to save that guy that J. Jonah Jameson killed.
Thanks. Thanks for ruining this moment.
You know what? I'm glad Mephisto undid the marriage.
Yeah, but instead of what Ben said, what actually happens is he's able to save everybody, and he's in his element. And Mary Jane says, "I love you."
Oh.
And he doesn't hear her because she whispers it, and he says, "What was that?" And she says, "Nothing." And I'm like, "Oh, it's gonna happen!" Doesn't happen. Spoilers. So Spider-Man is meanwhile saving everybody, but the Spider Queen is tearing up New York.
Right.
And in an earlier story, Madam Web had prophesized that Peter Parker was going to have to cross the line that he swore he would never cross.
Oh.
She's like, at the end of the story, you have to kill the Spider Queen. And he's like, I'm not going to do that. There's always another way.
Well, that's never going to happen.
I'm never going to do that. And so Kane is fighting with the Avengers, and the Spider Queen is like just tearing up places. And he's like, you know, whatever Spider-Man's doing is great, but like there's a giant spider monster that's going to still like wreak havoc. We got to take this thing out.
I'm sorry, why does he still have wrist spikes?
Because he's the other.
I thought it stripped him away of that.
No, it stripped him down
stripped
to that.
From that monster to him being the other in a regular person, cool body. So he teams up with Ms. Marvel, aka Carol Danvers, and she kind of like does a cool like fastball special whip snap thing where she like throws him at high velocity. He blasts out the spikes from the other, and then he just fires himself into her mouth and out the back of her head.
Yikes. And it goes scrutch.
Yeah.
Gross.
So he kills her, severing her connection to the spiders, which allows Spider-Man to then easily stab everybody with Octobots. And then he just like takes a minute and just sits the hell down. Everybody, of course, is cured.
And they don't have their clothes, which is hilarious.
They don't have their clothes, and Carly's like, oh crap, everyone's gonna see my like embarrassing sexy Spider-Man tattoo that I have on an unmentionable place. And what was it, S.H.I.E.L.D. is dispatched to give everyone pants. And Mary Jane's costume.
Thank God for you, S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, Mary Jane's outfit is torn to the point where she would be like totally naked, so Spider-Man gives her his shirt. And he's like, and she still has spider powers, and he's like, okay, so I kept a little cure. You have to be cured or you'll turn into a spider monster.
Right.
So she's like, cool, well, we'll talk later. And so she gets to be Spider-Man for a little while, just having a good time.
That's cool.
And
until she starts growing little pinches at us, and she's never mind.
So Eddie Brock takes pretty much all the credit for curing Manhattan. So Eddie Brock becomes a hero.
Yep.
Kane keeps the spider suit, and he's like, hey, Pete, I'm leaving. And Pete's like, good. And so Kane takes the suit.
I can't believe you're still here.
I know. So Kane takes the suit, he goes to Houston, Texas, and has a book called The Scarlet Spider.
Sure.
Which is actually pretty good.
All right.
And
In those panels, they look really good because they look like the same person.
right, but he has a 5 o'clock shadow and long hair, but it's like what he would look like if he had that. It's cool. Yeah. And actually, that's expertly done by some of my favorite art in the book. I really like what Humberto Ramos does, but I also really, really love Stefano Caselli, and I'm sad that he was not the mainstay artist in this book. Anyway.
It does look good.
So then Pete goes home, he changes into Peter Parker, right to when Carly is packing up all of her things and moving out. And he's like, what are you doing?
Whoa.
I saved the day. And she's like, you're Spider-Man.
Oh.
And you lied to me the entire time. And he's like, no.
What?
And she's like,
You never asked me if I was Spider-Man.
right. She's like, he then is like,
I didn't lie.
He's like, no, I'm not Spider-Man. She's like,
Well, now he
and then you lied to me.
Yeah.
Like, you're a scumbag. Just tell me the truth. And he's like, I am Spider-Man. She's like, and he's like, how'd you figure it out? She's like, how did I figure it out? Because it was the most obvious thing in the world. That's how.
No, but like specifically how though?
Yeah. And so, well, she's like,
She's like,
because I work for the cops and I pieced it all together.
ah.
And she's like, I'm out. Goodbye. So she walks out, and then Spider-Man goes to Doctor Strange's house. And
That
he's like,
sucks.
yeah. And he's like, hey, Doc Strange, what the crap happened?
Yeah.
And Doctor Strange is like, hey, it's me, and I'm astral projecting. What's going on? And he's like, Doc, your spell, it didn't work. It's a bunch of horse shit. And he's like, oh, you mean when you revealed your identity to everybody on a viral video? And you undid my spell? How did it not work? You dumbass?
What? But he didn't
didn't
reveal
say
his
he was
identity.
Spider-Man.
He did. He revealed that he had spider power.
That he had spider powers, but everybody had spider powers.
But he didn't get it from
He
him.
never said, I'm Spider-Man.
That's not the same thing.
Yeah, but he did. He revealed his spider powers.
No, that's bullshit.
That sucks.
He's like, you undid it.
That's ridiculous.
You undid it. So now nobody remembers what you did when you were in Civil War, but they can discover your Spider-Man again.
Okay, so the spell actually prevented people from knowing he was Spider-Man.
Hey.
Even if he was like, hey, I'm Spider-Man,
if he
they would
doesn't-
just be like, that doesn't sound like anything to me.
Yes. Yeah, they're all in Westworld.
No, but that's him revealing that he's Spider-Man to that person, so it would.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
he just say, hey,
that's right.
do the spell again.
No, it would be like if he had his Spider-Man costume on the coffee table.
Right. They would just believe.
They would be like, what do you do? And he's like, oh, it's my Halloween costume. They'd be like, oh, right, makes sense.
No,
I see.
in that moment you revealed you're Spider-Man because you're a doofus.
No.
Yeah, like how does it what?
How does it work?
He has to like specifically say the words. No, he doesn't because he did it by just showing his power. So I guess he has to use his powers in front of people to break the spell.
It's everything. He has to either say I'm Spider-Man or make it, or reveal that he's Spider-Man.
But
what
everyone
does that
is
mean, though?
Spider-Man at that point.
He Peter Parker clung to a wall. It doesn't matter that everybody else was spider powers. That's how it worked in the context of the story. I'm sorry.
I'm just trying to figure out the details. So if he makes a stupid mistake,
Yeah, if he screws
that
up
allows
like he just did,
someone to discover the secret,
I mean, like
like by leaving his costume somewhere.
that's fine. That's
Okay,
covered.
I see.
Under the Doc Strange insurance.
But if he's actually using his powers in front of someone,
Yes, if Peter Parker took off his mask and then started web swinging across the city, they'd all remember he's Spider-Man.
right? Okay.
So it is with that. So he's he meets up with Mary Jane on a rooftop and he gives her first he meets up with Madam Web and she's like, "You're gonna die in Superior Spider-Man." He's like, "Damn it."
Hey, you told me I was going to kill the Spider-Queen and I didn't.
So maybe you're wrong about this too.
Yeah.
She's not. So Spider-Man then meets up with Mary Jane and he gives her the shot she needs for Anti-Venom.
Right.
And then he's like, "Man, like I lost my girlfriend. Like this was a big adventure and it was really fun, but like I lost my girlfriend and I don't know if like and nobody really appreciates that I saved the day." And she's like, "What are you talking about?" She points to the Empire State Building and the Empire State Building changed its colors
Oh.
in honor of Spider-Man. And she's like, "Look at all of New York is saying thank you." And he's like, "Aw."
But how do they know that he saved the day?
Well, you know, maybe
know
Reed Richards
Spider-Man
told
did.
them or something. Well, because, I don't know.
The look on your face.
Well, I don't know. That's fair.
They just assumed he did.
Yeah.
It was something about spiders. Probably Spider-Man saved the
Spider-Man
day.
saved the day. Well, I mean, like, everything did, like, stop in their tracks, and they,
Maybe someone in the Empire State Building saw him,
I think it's more that like,
and they were like, "Oh, let's change the lights."
I think when they
like nobody knows except like one dude in the Empire State Building.
I think the cover story is, like, so what happened? And it's like, oh, well, these spider bots like stabbed you, and it's like, well, how did that happen? Oh, Spider-Man connected them.
Well, they're not spider bots; they're Octobots.
Right, but Spider-Man used them. And by the way,
Spider-Man broke into the Octopus's fucking.
You know what?
lab.
Captain America saved the day.
You know who saved the day? Reed Richards.
Yeah, and Eddie Brock.
Yeah. And Kane.
Yeah,
That was televised.
Yeah.
How is everyone not being? Yeah.
Oh, maybe
Put
that
Martin
is
Black
what it
up
is.
there.
They saw him
Yeah.
do that, and they thought it was Spider-Man.
That could be.
Eddie Brock is Spider-Man. My goodness.
Not Eddie Brock.
Anyway, they also, by the way, when Spider-Man uses Doc Ock's brainwave enhancing helmet, that's how Doc Ock gets the brainwaves he needs in order to take over his body in Superior Spider-Man.
Oh.
Spider-Man's greatest success is also his greatest downfall.
Like it
By
was,
accident.
It was like
Yes.
recording his brainwaves. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So, Spider Island is available in the description box below this video, so you can pick up a copy of this volume. It's fun. So now that you know,
Yeah.
cool, fun,
Yeah, it
lame.
seems cool. I like the Mary Jane stuff. That was
I
really
love
neat.
the Mary Jane stuff,
Yeah.
and it's so earned, and it really works, and it's fun to read. And
Yeah.
when it happens, you're like, oh, yay!
Oh, shit!
Especially when you're like, oh, I think it might actually be leading somewhere.
Yeah. In hindsight,
guess-
less great.
Yeah.
I guess I care more about. See, this sucks because I want Spider-Man to be happy.
Yes.
I don't care if it's with Mary Jane.
Right, so you're sad that he got dumped.
I'm sad that Carly finally got the wish of being with Spider-Man.
Right.
Yeah,
And
she's
he
a total
finally
bitch about
had
it.
someone he cared about, like knowing that it's him.
Yeah.
And she breaks up with him.
Yep.
That sucks.
Because
I
he lied.
agree.
That is weird.
You know what's funny? It's almost like Dan Slott was thinking he might leave the book after this, because he was really setting things up and clearing things out. Like, he invented Anti-Venom, and then he got rid of Anti-Venom.
Right.
And then he was like, he's the one who kind of like took the reins after they undid the marriage, and now he's like setting it back up. And like
Yeah.
he's the one who, he did this whole thing with Doc Ock, and it all kind of culminates with, with the Spider Island. Because I think that happens in 600, Amazing 600. He uses the Octobots.
Right. Yes, he does.
It's
Yep.
a whole thing. But I think he might have been like, maybe I'll leave. And then they were like, no one else wants to do it. And he's like, okay.
Okay. Well, then I won't leave.
Yeah, which wouldn't surprise me. But anyway, we'll see you guys next week with another episode of Back Issues, and of course, stay tuned for more here on ComicPop. We are definitely going to be playing that Spider-Man game when it comes out, which should be out actually on the same day that this episode comes out. So
Yay.
we'll see you guys then. I'm Sal.
I'm Ethan.
And I'm Ben.
Thanks for watching.